Hey guys, so we're going to be setting up the React Native app today, and we're going to be using something called Expo. So this is a tool that helps you and makes things a little bit easier when dealing with React Native. One of the things it does, which I really like, is it helps you when developing. So as we're coding and we save the project, it's going to auto refresh in this simulator and makes it really nice to see your changes. You don't have to go and rebuild your code and whatnot. Now the downside of Expo is you actually can't write any native code. But if you need to do that sort of thing, you can always eject or detach if you need to. Now the other thing, we're going to be using Expo itself and not create React Native app. Now the reason I'm not using that is because I just found it a little bit more difficult to get it set up because we're using both TypeScript and Yarn workspaces, which both of those don't play nicely with React Native. But if you want to try getting that set up on your own, you can. It would work the exact same way. Alright, so without further ado, let's get started. Now, you're going to want to install Expo's command line tools if you haven't already. And now what we're going to do is clone a repository that I've made before. So I'll link the video when I set this up. Basically, all I did was set up a Yarn workspace with Expo and React Native. So we're going to clone this. And I'm going to come over and I'm just going to cd into packages. And I'm going to git clone it. And we're going to cd into it, and we're going to switch to the first branch, so 1_add ts React Native. And in our packages now we should see that the project that we just cloned, and I'm just going to go into packages and then app and move it. So we really just wanted to grab the app out of this. The other thing is we need to grab these no hoist things. So if you go to the project and then package.json, we want to copy these. And we're going to move these to our package.json in the root directory. So paste those in. And the reason we're adding these is because all these libraries do not work well with Yarn workspaces, so we have to not hoist them. And then I'm going to cd out of this folder, and we can go ahead and just delete this thing because we don't need it. Alright, so the app is really what we wanted, and this is a basic React Native app. If we look at the app.tsx, we just say the word, or we're just adding two numbers together, and we're just going to say hello for now, and I'm going to get rid of that. And then the package.json, I'm going to rename this. So I'm going to call this @ab/app. We can keep all this stuff here the same. We don't need this. The cashew thing is with the other Yarn workspace I was using. Other than that, all this stuff is good. Now, I have the script, so there's two scripts right here. iOS starts up the iOS emulator. You can also add Android, which we can add real quick. So Expo Android, and make sure you use double quotes, not single quotes. This will start the emulator and install Expo on your emulator. So I'll show you that real quick. So if you run that command, so yarn Expo or whatnot, or yarn iOS or yarn Android, it will go ahead and install an app called Expo on your simulator if you don't already have that. Alright, so that's good. We can get rid of the yarn lock in this folder, and this config file is good. This is something you need for Yarn workspaces, getting the modules that are outside of the node modules. And I believe if we cd into app, there might be some node modules. Nope, there's not. Perfect. And let's clean up tsconfig. So there's all these things. I'm going to just get rid of them all and paste in what we had before. Or what we're using for the website, I mean. Alright, bye. And we can clean up these as well. Alright. I mean, for the most part, you can kind of change up the tsconfig to your liking. We don't need extends. And we're going to come over here to web, and I'm just going to copy over at least this chunk right here. We don't need the types anymore because we're skipping the library check. We can copy this bit right here and paste it in. Alright, and I think that should be good enough. And we can save our website. Alright, so we're all good, we're good to go. All we need to do is run yarn install and go ahead and install all the dependencies and whatnot that needs. And then the other thing, again, go ahead and run yarn iOS or yarn Android to go ahead and start the emulators. Now if you're using Android, I believe you have to open up like Android Studio first to launch the emulator. I'll probably go over this tomorrow because I want to make sure Android works as well. And then run yarn iOS and yarn Android, and that should install this. So you should be able to open up this app and you should see a screen like so. Because what we're going to do next is when that's done installing, we're going to start the Expo server, and we're going to hit this little plus, and we're going to add a project. Okay, so I'll just finish installing, and then we'll do that. Alright, so finish installing. While inside of app, we're going to say yarn start, and it's just going to start up the Expo server, and it should spit out a link. Alright, when it's done setting up, you should see something like this. I'm going to go ahead and copy this. And something I didn't mention, you can install the Expo app on your own physical phone if you want to. And you can actually scan this barcode and you can see the app on your phone. So that's another thing you can do. And the other thing to make sure when doing that though is you're on the same Wi-Fi as your computer. Alright, so I'm going to paste this in. And alright, so that's a lovely bug. So I've actually experienced this bug before, so I don't know if you saw it, it just like pasted in like thread and whatnot. I actually do have this on my clipboard, I just pasted it there. So in this case what I'm going to do is I have to just manually type it. So I'm going to paste it here, that way I know what to type out. And we're going to say expo //10.122.140. This doesn't always happen to me, but sometimes it does, and you just have to manually type it. And alright, so what it's doing now is it's gonna contact our server over here and download the bundle, so you should see that. And if it works correctly, you should get something that looks like that, and it says hello. Alright, so this is pretty much all. If you got this message, React Native was installed, everything worked well with the ARM workspaces, and we're good to continue with the project.